Hello everybody, welcome back to Catch Up Court. I go by the name of Hines, your friendly neighborhood catch-up man, and we are back for another catch-up of the Donna Adelson trial. Things are getting really spooky for Donna because listen, if you're like me who have probably never heard of this case, then you're in the right place, because I'm gonna do my best to try and give you a quick background and also give you yesterday's recap, because today is when the prosecution got really meticulous. So if you don't know, or for those that may have never heard of this case, Donna Adelson, who is a 75-year-old grandma at this point, she wasn't in 2014, but that's neither here or there. Donna Adelson is on trial for the murder for hire plot of the killing of her son-in-law, Dan Markel. She has been suspected to be part of that. He was a well-respected law professor that was married to her daughter, Wendi Adelson. They went through a really bad divorce. In fact, so many things has come out during the trial to show how really bad this is. And when everything was lost, that's when allegedly they had gotten together and planned this killing that ended up in the subsequent death of Dan Markel. So we're now here where we're going through a lot of the witness testimonies coming out to show all the evidence linking Donna to all of this, to why this is even happening, to why the killing actually happened. And we're going to go through it. But before we go through today's witnesses, let's go through yesterday's witnesses. So there was 7 witnesses that had testified yesterday, and they gave they laid a lot of the foundation for a lot of the testimony that we heard today. So before I do go into those witnesses, make sure that you hit the like button and also share this stream. It really does help us out with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much once again for tuning in. Let's catch up with this case. So Jeffrey Lacasse, this was Wendi Adelson's ex. He was the first witness and the 10th witness overall, but the first witness that was up yesterday, and he gave a lot of testimony in regards to how Wendi and him got together. He didn't really know Dan too well, but nonetheless, he knew who he was. He gave a really important testimony at how he met Dan, or knew that Dan was at the dinner where Kathryn and Wendi were at. So that was a really important testimony, but the most important part of his testimony that came out was when Wendi had said to him that she has a problem and her brother is hiring a hitman to handle the problem with Dan Markel, that he's considering paying a hitman, basically. That was my mind was blown yesterday when I heard that testimony, but that wasn't the only witness. Then we heard from June Umchida, who was Charlie's ex. She didn't really offer much except what was happening when the news was breaking on the TV and Charlie had learned about it. So she basically gave testimony into their state of mind, their reactions when the news had basically hit the mainstream, in regards to the arrest, etc. Then we heard from Ryan Fitzgerald, a friend of Charlie Adelson. Not really much could be gleaned from his testimony, except that there was that Charlie had a lot of girlfriends. There wasn't much from his testimony, but then we heard from Mary Hull, who was a chief inspector at the police department, I believe, the general office, and her main testimony was going through all the accounts of the Adel Institute, showing all the transactions that was made to Kathryn, showing the financial history of the hitmen, Louis Rivera and Sigfredo Garcia. So those hitmen, she showed the financial history. She showed the money that was paid by the Adelsons to Kathryn Magbuana, or Kathryn Mac, as I like to call her. And then after that was the bulk of her testimony. After that, we heard from Clarissa Sporter, who works at the Adelson Institute, been working there for 40 years, is Harvey Adelson's dental assistant. And her testimony was basically she didn't even know who Kathryn Mac was. Then we heard from the infamous Kathryn Mac herself, really helpful for the prosecution. She basically revealed that, you know, she didn't take the immunity, why she's testifying now, and she's testifying truthfully. She just gave testimony in regards to orchestrating the hit, gathering the people. The key thing that really stuck out from that testimony was how she didn't think that it was going to be those two, and by those two I mean Louis Rivera and Sigfredo Garcia. She didn't think it was going to be them doing it, but other people, but it turned out to be them. And that was that was the weirdest part of her testimony. But the key part of her testimony was where she met up with Charlie at his house and spent the night. And Donna was also, and she said that Donna was, that Charlie was speaking with Donna, and Charlie would go out and come back in and confirm with Donna before she did anything. So as she was talking to Sigfredo apparently and doing all those things, Charlie would relay to Donna, is the gist of what she was going through yesterday. Then we heard from Christopher Corbitt, who is also testifying today because his testimony was not complete yesterday. He went through all of the communications, in regards to this case, all the communications of the hitmen with Kathryn. So basically Louis and Sigfredo, he went through all of that. The most interesting part that came out from his testimony was where he was, I believe it was the methodical planning of it was the involvement from the divorce was the first part to come out. So he showed the emails again. Remember, we had the lead investigator from day one that went through like a cliff notes, but this one was really like kind of recalling all that. He went through the divorce, etc. We didn't really get to finish with him, but today is where the bulk of the key parts, a lot of the bulk of his testimony came out. So that's what we're going to do today. That is day 3 recapped. Or I hope that you're up to speed to where we are now. If you do want to see day 3 in full, as I went through all of the testimony, you can just go into the description. It should be all there, or just click the Catch Up God podcast and you'll see a lot more of the recaps. But today's witnesses, 6 witnesses gave testimony. We heard, like I said already, Christopher Corbitt is one of them. We are continuing with his testimony. Then we heard from the undercover FBI agent. Then we heard from Louis Bronstein, who was basically orchestrating all of it. And then we heard from James McEvelyn, who was the forensic scientist, basically doing all the editing of the audio and video. Then we heard from Brian Kendall, who was the police officer that was working side by side, well, not side by side, but he was part of the on-field agents. Then we heard from Patrick Sandford, who was an FBI special agent as well. So let's just get into it. Let's just literally get into it now, because the FBI leaving him to this late is the icing of the cake in today's whole trial. It's just the icing of the cake. We are gonna get into what the FBI testified to, because a lot came out from his testimony. But let's start with Christopher Corbitt, because his testimony was really key in establishing, in my opinion, Donna Adelson's state of mind, and why she could have possibly orchestrated all of this, why all of this would have kicked off with her. And it all started, well, at least from the way that it was presented today, it was a continuation from yesterday, and the prosecution wasted no time in showing what Donna was feeling after knowing that the appeal for the relocation motion was denied, and there was no chance taking it up to an appellate level. Let's watch.
Email that we saw yesterday from your PowerPoint, which was sent just a couple of days after Wendy's relocation was denied.
That's correct.
Okay. And so in this email sent about 5 days after Wendy's relocation was denied, from Donna and Harvey to some friends, does it say, "Not in the mood to talk right now, and hope you'll understand. Wendy's hearing for relocation was denied. No chance at the appellate level for an appeal. We are all very disappointed. We'll talk soon, I promise. Love, Donna."
Yes.
Yeah, so this was really key. The way that it started, it shows immediately. If you're wondering why, at least to me anyway, from the way I perceived this particular testimony and this particular email being presented in this way, if you're wondering why would a grandma go this far, escalate this far to try and, or just because to try and bring the kids closer to her, or just because of the relocation breaking down, getting the kids to go with her, this just shows you that, one, she's upset. She's really upset. She didn't really want to talk, and she wrote it all down. She had let others know that, and it shows that state of mind. If you're wondering why on earth she would do this, she's angry, she's upset. There's a lot of emotions going through, and at this point, if you are domineering, as we have got to hear from the previous days covering this trial, she has been established as domineering, controlling, and in the kid's life, even to the point where Wendi Adelson, we heard from her testimony that Donna had even set up a profile, a dating profile for her, and to try and find men to date. That's how much she likes to be involved. Now you're seeing that in the law, with the law, she can't actually do anything. The control is out of her hands. She's lost that power that she craved, or she hung on to, that she was able to get from, like, trying to orchestrate all this. She actually thought she would have the upper hand. It makes the other emails about we need to take him down, the Adelsons are not going to lose, all of this, it puts it all into perspective that she did this simply because she lost, and she just couldn't take it. That's literally it. She just couldn't take the fact of losing her the kids and not have them near her, the possibility that Wendi is not going to be near her because she's now going to have to live in Tallahassee, might have to live there, losing that control. So when you consider all of those things, it makes sense why she would go this far. Anyway, Then he went on to testify that the car that was rented by Garcia for the first hit was a Nissan Altima. So in the initial plan, this was the first car. So this was June 6th. This was around June that they were going to hire this car, that they were going to get this car around. So I believe it was they didn't have, and the most important part to look out for here, and we're gonna go back to this, is that they thought it was all done when this car was hired. They thought it was all done when Garcia had gone on to rent this car. And the initial plan, from what I'm guessing from Jeff's testimony, and this was the importance of his testimony, the car, Nissan Altima, was very close to the car he owned. So it gives the idea that they thought it was all planned out. They were all gonna get away with it, and Jeff would have been the most likely suspect, because that's the new boyfriend and doesn't like Dan, so to speak. So that was going to be, in my opinion, that's probably going to be their narrative if anyone was going to come looking for Dan's killer. But Christopher goes on to detail how he was unable to recover Garcia's phone records. He's going to explain later on why that is, and he also shows that Kathryn was also at the rental car site from 8:58, then 9:17, 9:38, and returned to our house. All of this was around 2nd of June 2014. He went back to show the calls. He went back to show the calls that they had. That there was a call made at 8:57 p.m. to Kathryn, but this wasn't picked up. So this call was made by Charlie. So he showed the communications between Charlie and the hitman and Kathryn, the co-conspirators in this case. But anyway, moving on. Well, not in this case, because Donna is the only defendant, but you get what I'm trying to say. Then Kathryn calls Charlie at 9:17 p.m. This was when they left the rental, and they spoke for 25 minutes. After speaking for 25 minutes, Charlie calls the landline for Donna and Harvey Adelson and lets them know. Well, I'm gonna say allegedly lets them know, even though Charlie is in prison. I'm still gonna say it because we don't know the substance of the call. But after receiving that call from Kathryn, Charlie calls Donna and Harvey Adelson at the Adelson residence, and this call also lasted for 25 minutes, and it ended at 12:09 a.m. Kathryn calls Sigfredo at this point as well, and then Harvey calls Kathryn calls Sigfredo. This was later on in the evening. Harvey calls Charlie at 10:16 p.m. to 10:21 p.m. I'm guessing there's no way to prove this because Harvey is not on trial, but I'm guessing that Harvey may have had communications. May have. Big guess from me. I have no idea of this case. I don't know the history. I don't know the substance from the previous trial. I haven't watched it. I do know that there was convictions for Louis and Kathryn and Charlie. So I do know that, but I don't know the details. So I'm guessing that Harvey could, if they go after him, they may have him discussing something, because this call from Harvey to Charlie never made sense to me. But they spoke for approximately 7 minutes, and then Charlie calls Harvey again at 10:27. Kathryn texts Sigfredo at 10:30 at this point. Kathryn also calls Charlie at 10:41 p.m. and spoke for roughly 20 minutes. The call ended at 11:04. Then Kathryn calls Sigfredo at 11:05, but this was only an attempted call. The prosecutors actually highlighted, and this is something I like how they did it, because they were really methodical in highlighting all of this and showing the jury the frequency of calls between Donna, Charlie, Kathryn, and Louis and Sigfredo. So that's the involvement. Donna is definitely involved. The one thing that they did, and at this point, it shows that everyone thought it's all done. Everyone thought the job was done, because they had all these things prepared, got the car, got all that. They're gonna do it. That's the essence of what I'm getting from this cell data, from this communication data that was presented by Christopher. Then we move on to the next part of his testimony, still discussing the hit for June, the hit attempt for June, because we know from Louis Rivera that this hit attempt did not go well, that they actually didn't do the hit because Dan had taken the kids to the daycare. So Louis says that no, they actually switched. I'm for, no, we can't kill this man in front of kids. So they didn't go through with the hit. Before that even happens, we heard testimony that the kids, we heard testimony that on the 6th of June 2014, the kids' pictures were being put up at the house by Donna. So they started putting the kids' picture up. They even had the kid's last name at the house. So remember, we are gonna go through Wendy's testimony when I'm done with all this. We're gonna review it one more time. Well, not go through in detail, but you know what I'm trying to say. If you wanna know the bulk of that testimony, it's on day 2. You can go catch up there. But but this is when the kids were being called the Adelsons on the 6th of June 2014. He also testifies that around this period that there was already a schedule for the visitation of the children and Wendi picking up the children and having the children from the 11th of July to the 17th of July 2014. This schedule was a long time established, and the prosecution, I believe they were highlighting this because Wendi was asking Dan for the schedule again around this time frame on the 6th of July. Around this time frame, he was asking Dan for the schedule again, despite having it in her records in January. So on the 6th of July, and this is where the Evite becomes important, because this was asked of Wendi Adelson, and there was a Evite birthday reminder on the 5th of July 2014 to get the presents for Harvey Adelson on his birthday. They were all going to meet at the house. They were all going to celebrate his birthday. So that was essentially the plan. Wendi messages Dan at this point on the 6th of July 2024 when they were all at the house, asking if Dan will be in Tallahassee from the 14th July to the 18th of July if she can take the kids on the 16th of July. And he says, yes, she can do that. This was all done, and I believe this was this was the prosecution showing that that they were all there, so they would have been conspiring at this point and getting this information. But if me being me, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe, just maybe, she just forgot, didn't want to check the email, and just wanted to get this information, so that they can, plan out and get the kids before he leaves, because we heard testimony that he was actually planning to leave. From Louis Rivera, he was planning to leave the state. So they needed to get the job done quickly. So we heard that testimony. So Wendi could have been innocently forgot the schedule, or she could have done this because she wanted him. She definitely wanted him to at least stall a little bit before he actually does leave. Before he actually does leave, because he wouldn't leave without giving her the kids, basically, because they are is within the visitation. So that was all on the 6th. We have to remember the context. Why are they trying to get this information on the 6th? Why are they trying to do all of this? That someone knows that this fell through, and they need to re-strategize. That's my understanding, which is where all this comes from. That makes it look sloppy. And I'm going to get into why it just looks sloppy. Wendi, at this point, Wendi messages. Don't Wendi messages. We've been through that. On the day of the rental, Charlie, on the day of the rental. So the day of the rental was the 14th. No, the 5th. The 14th. Yes, he rented, based on Louis Rivera testimony, he rented the Prius. So they dumped the Altima. They're now using a Prius. Mistakes are being made. But anyway, they rented the Prius on the 14th of July, 2014. Charlie calls the Adelson residence for 21 minutes. Again, the landline, the residence. No one directly calls it. So he calls the Adelson residence for 21 minutes after the car has been rented. So that was when that was done. The last call was so he called again at 7:21 p.m. and this call lasted for 11 minutes. Harvey Adelson then calls the Adelson's residence for a minute after Charlie had called. This was brilliant. This was a brilliant call record to have, because it shows that there's a difference, or at the very least, Donna would have been likely been the one to have been picking up these calls at the residence and not Harvey. That was what the prosecution highlighted, and I thought that was brilliant, because they needed to separate all of this. They need to separate who was speaking, like they have done with the emails. You know, they were speaking with shared emails. Now they're speaking at the residence, where it's very vague who would pick up or not. You're now seeing a conspiracy actually happening in code, broken down for you. Basically, it starts to make sense. Basically, that there is a high likelihood of a conspiracy happening. So Charlie then calls the Adelson residence the same day. On the day of I believe this was the 15th. So a day after the rental. Charlie calls the Adelson residence for 10 minutes at 8:20 p.m. And let me just go to the timeline so I can show you. Okay. So this was the frequency of calls when they rented the Prius. When they had the Prius rented, this was the frequency of calls. We now know Wendi is in touch with Donna. We also now know that Harvey is in touch with Donna. And 4 calls were made around this time by Charlie, 12 by Kathryn, and to the hitmen as well. So the most important part, though, is a day before the murder, because they were trying to get all the information down so that they don't miss this one. So a day before the murder, their communications was shown again, and Charlie calls Donna at 10:18 for 4 minutes. Then at 10:29, he calls again, and same duration, 4 minutes. So Donna and Charlie were in communication a day before the murder. Then Kathryn calls Sigfredo, same day, 11:40 p.m. for 10 minutes. Kathryn receives a text message, then calls Sigfredo at 12:01 a.m. for a minute. Charlie calls Kathryn at 12:07 a.m. for 3 minutes. Kathryn calls back Charlie at 12:34 a.m. for a minute. Charlie then calls Donna, but this was an attempted call. We got to learn later that the call that this particular call was actually a mistake, and he actually meant to call Kathryn because it actually happened a minute later. So at 1:03 a.m. he actually called Kathryn, and they spoke for 20 minutes. The substance of this call, of course, cannot be ascertained, but we get the idea that there was constant communication with these guys, likely to just ensure that they have all. Basically shows a degree of importance. On the day of the murder, from 8 a.m., the communications was shown between the Adelsons and the co-conspirators. So that the co-conspirators, as we know, is Kathryn, then Louis Rivera, then Sigfredo Garcia. So those three, all of them were basically in communication. So the calendar event was actually deleted. The calendar event was deleted, but for fixing the TV, that was deleted. We don't know the exact date it was deleted. That was never established, but it was established that it was definitely deleted. Wendi then calls Donna. This was only an attempted call. Donna calls Wendi at 8:09, again an attempted call because the duration was only 0 minutes. The text, there was a text that was sent that a technician was coming for the TV sets. Let me go to that. Let me go to this and play it for you guys really, really quickly. Let me just play it.
A text message about the same time frame, little phone tag maybe, and then we see a text message from Donna to Wendi again about the Best Buy service.
And she says, they're on their way over now to help with the TV sets in your living room.
Correct.
All right, what's next?
Wendi has a text to Charlie stating, "This is so sweet."
So, deleted text to Charlie saying, "This is so sweet." You can infer what you want. Maybe it means nothing. Maybe it means something. It's sweet because it means that maybe it's all going good. They can finally get the TV fixed. I don't know why it's deleted, but they can finally get the TV fixed because they've been waiting a month to get that TV fixed. A month, 5 days, 6 days. So they can finally get that TV fixed, despite the money that they have. Despite they couldn't just get a new TV. We already went through that. But nonetheless, Wendi texts Charlie saying that this is so sweet. A voicemail was also left by Dan for Wendi at 9:04. This voicemail was again. Let me just quickly show you on the screen so that because it was in text form. He basically says, "Wendi, good morning. Just want to let you know he's gonna take them. He's gonna take the kids. He's gonna pick the boy. I'll just read it. Just wanted to let you know I was hoping to pick the boys up early this afternoon and take them swimming, and then have them ready for you at around 4:30 or 5 if you can pick them up from me." So all of this is basically to say, to say that to relay the plan, because I'm guessing that when they spoke, there was this was just to relay his plan and what he was going to do that day. And he said he was going to the gym that particular day. Very important to highlight that. And he then after that voicemail, Charlie calls Wendi at 9:12 a.m. and this was for 29 seconds. It's unclear whether Wendi actually picks up or not. But then when he does text when he does text Dan, saying that the repairman was at the house right now and she's picking up the boys at 3 p.m. So the idea is a no-go. Get the idea that for me, this was an idea just to keep him there. Just like don't actually do that. Don't actually do that. That's what I thought. But I don't know. I just lost my point there. I just lost my point. Hopefully I will get it back. But then after that, Charlie calls Wendi for 18 minutes. It was actually highlighted that at this time, based on the response from Charlie to from Wendi to Dan, that based on her response, she must have heard the voice message, which is why she is saying what she said to Dan about she must have heard what Dan was saying in regards to picking up the kids and going with the swimming, changing the plan from 5 to now 3 o'clock. So of course, this is basically stalling Dan so that he doesn't go to the gym. At least that was my read from it. This is basically stalling Dan so that he doesn't go to the gym just here. He could be at the house. Mistakes are being made. So Wendi then texts Dan saying, keep the boys until 4:30. This was, in my opinion, when she messages this, agreeing with what Dan wanted, saying, okay, keep them to that time. This was when they must have gotten confirmation that they got a clean shot, or they, don't worry, we are now tracking him, we know where it's going, etc. This must have been that moment. I'm speculating a lot, but that's my guess. 1 hour later after this, so after the message about keeping the boys until 4:30, I believe, let me just go to the timeline to see that message. So this was at 9:18 a.m. So after that, at 9:18 a.m. it was she messages Dan saying, if it was 4:30 last Friday, you should have told me that. So she wasn't at first on board with it. Then after Wendi calls Charlie and they spoke for 18 minutes, like I said, that's when she agrees to the idea of of being of taking the kids at 4:30 from the house. They have stored him enough. They know his location. They know what he's going to do. In my opinion, based on what's been presented by the lead detective Craig Ibsen, with the whole tracking of the vehicles, etc., this makes sense. They now have his location. They now know his movements, going to the gym, then going back home. So if they're not gonna get the hit at the home just yet, but they know what he's going to do. They know the route. Is my best guess. So Charlie calls Donna at 9:38 a.m. for 30 seconds. This was likely not received, but we don't know. But according to the testimony by Christopher, he says that this call just means it's more likely that it wasn't picked up. Then Charlie attempts to call Kathryn at 9:56 a.m. Charlie calls Kathryn at 9:58 a.m. for 7 minutes. So Kathryn at this point picks up the phone, and they spoke for 7 minutes. Charlie calls Wendi at 10:06 after the call with Kathryn, and this one lasted for 11 seconds. Charlie tries calling Kathryn at 10:06. This wasn't picked up. Kathryn tries calling Charlie. My bad. Kathryn tries calling Charlie at 10:06. This wasn't picked up. Then Charlie calls her back at 10:08, and they spoke for 5 minutes. Dan was at this point. We heard the testimony from Christopher that Dan was speaking with his divorce attorney, Stephen Webster, at that point. And the last outgoing call was at 10:34 a.m. and he was killed minutes after this. We have to remember the testimony from the lead investigator where he said that the Prius rejoined traffic around 10:56. So he hypothesized that around 10:51 was when the killing happened. Around that time, 10:45 to 10:51, around that time. So he went through. So he being Christopher the witness, then goes through all of the location data of both Rivera and Garcia. We've already seen this on day one, but he just went through it all again to show the tracking by in the Prius, etc. Then he also testifies that Wendi did not call Dan when she saw the police crime scene blockage, and didn't call the police either. So she didn't do anything. There was no call records when she was at the police blockage, but they were actually tracking her time. So before she was even spoken to by the police that day, because remember the police spoke to her 2 hours later, before before that communication occurred, as we learned with Craig Isom, the lead the detective on day one. Before that happened, she was already near Dan's place, which explains the blockage, because there was a receipt at ABC Wine at 12:49 p.m., which is in that same location. So she would have been at Dan's residence, where it was being closed off by the crime scene investigators at 12:35 to 12:45. That was the hypothesis. Let's go listen to that testimony, because I thought that was really crucial.
So with that, and to slide 233, with that receipt being at 12:49, the voice call ending at 12:47, she would have passed by Mr. Markel's residence just prior to that.
So after the murder, we now have that information placing her there before she even spoke with the police, which I'm pretty sure they're gonna go through. I'm pretty sure they're gonna go through that testimony again. When she spoke with the investigators then. But after the murder, Sigfredo and Rivera were placed in Miami from 6:30 p.m. to 6:52 p.m. and Luis Rivera was making withdrawals from the ATM in the Prius. We've already seen this on his testimony. He's just going through it again. Sigfredo was also in communications with Katie and Garcia at this point as well. Kathryn was also messaging Charlie at 5:21 to 8:21 around this time. So 5:21 to 8:21, Charlie and Kathryn were in communications about going over to his residence. So this was, as the prosecution called it, the money drop. So they were getting all the so they were exchanging the money at this point, or should I say planning to exchange the money. So around this time, Donna texts Charlie at 7:12 p.m. saying, "Call us ASAP." Then there was a tower ping. So he showed all the tower pings that was going on from 7:13 p.m. at the residence to 10:53 p.m. in North Miami. So so Donna's cell phone and Harvey's cell phone, this is very important. Donna and Harvey's cell phone combined were pinging at this location, including Charlie's residence. So they started leaving South Beach where they were at to North Miami. Then from there, the prosecution brought back Kathryn's testimony that she made about the parents being at Charlie's home before she had arrived to spend time with him. So that's very key, because now it gives the broader picture. It gives the clearly defined picture that she went to the home, and there was a high likelihood that she would have seen her there. Despite her testimony, of course, they cannot say what she didn't say, because she didn't say, I do remember this testimony, she didn't say that she actually saw Donna or she saw Harvey. So, but she said that she was there before the parents were. That the parents were there before she was there. So, we heard testimony that Donna had gone to Charlie's home at 8:59 p.m. based on a text saying, "I'm outside your house before," and this was before Kathryn was there. He also testifies that based on the route planning that they did, they have this app called Esri, that they planned out the route to show how long it would take to go from her residence, from the cell ping, and her is Donna. So how long it would take Donna from that from her residence to Charlie's residence. And based on this, the main important part of that testimony, or trying to get that information, was to show how long she would be at the house for, how long Donna and Harvey were at the house for. This was really, really key. And then he also testifies that based on that route planning app, they were there. It took them only 30 minutes to basically get there, and they spent approximately 1 hour 6 minutes at Charlie's residence in all of this. So they were there for approximately 1 hour 6 minutes. Charlie messages that he's gonna be there in 10 minutes at 9:19 p.m. and then they all met up. So they haven't met up with Kathryn yet. So moving on, Donna messages Charlie at 11:56 p.m. About her travels to North Miami. So this was when they were already out, and they had basically traveled to North Miami at this point. So that was everything to do with the day of the murder, showing a map, an outright map of the parents, Donna, the killers going to Miami, because remember they showed the location for Louis and Sigfredo, etc. They showed him in Miami making withdrawals at the ATM, etc. So I'm not saying that these guys met, because we heard from Louis that he doesn't even know who they are. So that's not what I'm saying, but it's in the same city basically. Hey Bratin, welcome to the stream. I appreciate you for joining. Yes, the prosecution were ready today. They were on fire, in my opinion. So after that, then we got to hear of the movements, communications on the 19th of July 2014. This was the day after the murder, and this was when all the money exchanges were being made by Kathryn to Louis and Sigfredo. So Charlie and Kathryn were planning to meet each other. We already discussed that. They were meeting each other that night, and she spent the night at the house. They showed all the cell data where she left the house at 9:44 a.m. I believe it was I believe it was a.m. It was a.m. No, 9:44 a.m. So then communications between Rivera, Sigfredo, KE, and Ortiz. This was another issue. They all were scrambling and trying to reach Garcia. And they stopped doing this at 10:30 a.m. This is very important, because if we cast our mind back to testimony where I believe Kathryn and I hope I'm not having the wrong date, I'm not making the wrong connection, but apparently Kathryn and Charlie were having a spat around this time as well, and they were talking about, I believe they were talking about Sigfredo. So this may be around that time, if my memory is serving me properly. But as you know, I might get things wrong. So replay crew and people in the chat, if that is not entirely accurate, let me know in the chat or in the comments, and I will literally fix it, because I want accurate information to be to go out from this stream. Anyway, moving on. So he also shows the inbound calls. He also explained that the only reason that he determined that Sigfredo had dumped his phone is because they were trying to make calls and there was no cell activity returning to the tower, to the cell tower. So that usually means that the phone is dumped. There is no service whatsoever. So that's what basically happened. Garcia had dumped his phone, did not tell anybody. So Kathryn went to Rivera's residence, and that's when, and I believe that this was to locate Garcia. So this was 10:34 a.m. So that's what I believe she was trying to do, and they likely met up here at this point, and they finally found Garcia. So all of this was to show that Donna, Charlie, Kathryn were at the house when the money exchange was happening, likely cash, and it was to show that Kathryn picked it up and gave it to Garcia. So it goes with that testimony about picking up the money or the envelope, whatever testimony that was yesterday, because she danced around this testimony a lot yesterday on day 3. But it shows that exchange did happen because they went to Rivera's house. Then also something that's important as well. This gives a bit of context to what she meant about consulting the mother, that he would consult the mother when she was there. So this was likely, it wasn't established fully what time Kathryn had got to the house, but she was there that night. And it was around the time before they left. It was definitely before they left, but she still says that they didn't see each other, but they were all at the house. And Kathryn was at the house as well when she got there. So let me go back because let me go back to that. Let me just go back to that. I think they showed the cell tower of Kathryn's activity. Hold on, let me try and find the right timestamp. Oh, flipping heck. No, that was. Oh, okay. Can't find it. Never mind. So, but anyway, point is they were all at the house, and this gives a bit more context to what she meant by she will always check. She'll always check with Donna, etc. That they were all at the house at this point. So moving on. He also testifies to the wiretap. So now all the events for the exchange of money, the murder, the rental, all that is done, and he was now talking about the wiretap, and it was court ordered and given to them to investigate this further. He also testified to the bump that happened at 2:09, and he explained that it was just undercover agents, and he also gave testimony in regards to Kathryn and Charlie being wiretapped in 2016. So there's not much to actually highlight from the defense, in my opinion. There is not much they could do. All they talked about was the signal load on the cell towers to try and show that sometimes they could not track accurately. So it's not, that's all they were doing. They also tried to use the demonstratives by the state, with the whole communications, etc., with Donna, Harvey, Kay, and Sigfredo. They all tried to show those communications, saying that there's no way to know what they were talking about. I mean, okay. I mean, yeah, but they were still talking. There were still communications. Anyway, the defense highlights that that the cell towers cannot determine where someone is in their home. He also says yes. And this is the part that I thought that was weird from the defense, because I felt like they didn't need to highlight this. They just implicated. I don't rate the guy. I don't give special ratings to this. We talked about it on day 3, but this is likely the anchor in Donna's defense team, because I don't know why he highlighted the Evite part. But anyway, he says that there was no way, the defense were highlighting and asking that there was no way to determine that Donna had set up the Evite. And then we heard a testimony that I don't think we've heard. Like, I don't think we actually heard on, except for Wendi Adelson saying that it could have been the mom that set up the Evite, or her, that she just doesn't know. And then from there, we heard him testify and say that he can only consider the email that said that she had sent that she had set up the Evite because she was asking for help. So she being Donna was asking for help on how to set up the Evites, and also asking for contacts to add to the Evite. That's all. Why would you want that? Why would you want that in? Why would you not want to leave it vague, where Wendi was basically, anyway, the defense also highlights that Wendi calls Charlie, that Wendy's calls to Charlie at 9 a.m. that she didn't call Donna. So she didn't call Donna, she called Charlie rather than Donna. So this was probably the best part because it kind of removes Donna's involvement. At least this was the best part for the defense. And they also pointed out that the call that lasted for 30 seconds could have been may not have been picked up, so that was a bit of a doubt there from them. And they were also showing the probable inaccuracy in his approximations, in his testings, you know, the testings that he did to try and approximate the time of travel, because he testified that he went on the route that the Adelsons, Harvey and Donna, went on to try and get the approximate time. So he was just trying to basically say, you're not 60s, you're not this, you're not there is no way to account for certain factors that would happen during a travel, basically was his point. But anyway, the state moved on to just redirect and said that there was texts to highlight, because the defense was saying, hey, there's no way to prove that Donna was at the house. I don't know why they would say this, but that just left room for the state to come out and just say, yeah, Charlie, and say that the message from Donna to Charlie is enough proof to show that she was at the house. And also the state highlighted that Donna added the invitees to the contact. So just basically going through that again. Then we heard from the FBI agent, who I thought was a really good testimony. He gave testimony to basically say that he was instructed to be a gang member. His testimony was anonymous due to the nature of his job, but yeah, he was instructed to be a gang member to conduct the bump on Donna. And he basically explained what the bump was, that it was extracting information for future use, and he had gone up and handed her a flyer. And let me play this part of his testimony because I thought that this was key. Let me just go straight to the to the undercover testimony.
All right. Regular piece of paper?
Yes.
Okay. With a printout of an article relating to the murder of Dan Markel. Is that right?
That is correct.
And at this time, it's been a couple of years since the murder of Mr. Markel.
Yes.
Okay. And over here in handwritten, can you say what was printed there?
Yes. Just call and text, and that's my undercover cell phone number and the $5,000 which was being asked for.
Okay, and this cell phone number that it belongs to the phone number that's written here, are you personally going to carry that around and answer it if someone calls it?
That is correct. That's solely in my hands, and I'm the only one answering. Or
Right.
a voicemail would answer.
And is there something you need to do if that occurs to record the phone call in question?
Well, the way, and I can't reveal too much tradecraft, but if I received a call and it went to voicemail, it would do a remote recording. It wouldn't be on the actual phone, so I didn't have access to any voicemails.
Okay, but if you're going to take the call, is there something you do that causes the call to be recorded?
Well, yes, I had to do something on the phone.
All right. Was the interaction, the bump that we're referring to it as, where you approached Donna Adelson and spoke with her, was that audio recorded?
It was audio and video recorded, yes.
How was it recorded?
I had an audio and video on my person, and I believe the surveillance security team also recorded that.
So we've got one angle that's what you're wearing and another angle from across the street.
That is correct.
Have you had an opportunity to review State's Exhibit 112, a thumb drive containing those two from across the street?
Yes.
There's 112, is it?
From
Yes.
to, were there phone calls that were made from or to the phone number on the phone flyer in connection with this investigation?
Yes.
Are those phone calls contained on State's Exhibit 117?
Yes, they are.
Moved into evidence, State's 117, Your Honor?
Objection.
No objection.
States 117 is admitted.
And states 117, those are all the phone calls associated with this number on the sheet here. We've got one from you to the Adelson Institute Family Business. Recall that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And then one from Charlie Adelson to this phone number, is that right?
Yes.
And one from Donna Adelson to this phone number, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and those are all the phone calls. Nobody else called the number during the course of this operation that was answered?
That was
Agree?
answered, yeah,
Okay,
correct.
there were a couple missed calls, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
So that was it. The phone calls made by Donna, Charlie, and the Adelson Institute. This is why I believe they were on redirect exam on day 3. They were talking about the voicemails being left on their old machine. So I think that was, maybe we're gonna hear evidence that there was a call from the Adelson Institute and he probably called back or something like that and left a voicemail. Trent Briggs, welcome to the stream. He says there's zero evidence showing Donna arranged this hit. That's true. That is true. It's just that is very true. Like it's the literal arranging is literally by Charlie. So, but the thing is, even though that's true, I mentioned before that this case is reminiscent of the Sheila Agee case, which also happened in the state of Florida. And what happened in that case, she didn't carry out the shooting that the son did. The son was the one that killed the girlfriend, but she was culpable because she was messaging the son telling him do it. So she was messaging the son telling him do it. She was trying to say that it was a joke, etc., trying to do that, but she basically, that message got her life in prison. So even though she didn't arrange the hit, she didn't dissuade the son from whatever he was planning. So I do think that Trent, you do have a point here, in my opinion, because even though she's not shown arranging, she's not shown even knowing. But there's a lot more that we're going to get to. She wasn't shown knowing of the hit until we got to the last witness, Patrick Sandford. We're going to get to it. Just want to run through the rest of the witnesses, because what you basically said here, Trent, is what was highlighted on cross-examination, where the defense were trying to remove the culpability that she never contacted the hitman. Let me just quickly run that testimony so that you can see where the defense were coming from. Hold up.
And you tell her that you need $5,000 to take care of Tato, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and she told you she didn't know what you were talking about.
Well, during the bump, I didn't mention the 5,000 or anything. I didn't mention the money.
The piece of paper said
Well,
5,000.
the paper did, but verbally I didn't say it to her.
You said they needed to take care of Tato,
Yes, but I didn't say the dollar amount.
but you handed her a piece of paper and it
did.
had it on there, correct?
Sure.
Okay. She didn't pay you the $5,000, did she?
I don't believe they ever did.
Okay, and that was on April the 19th of 2016, correct?
I believe so.
Okay. So that's the 19th. As of the 23rd, you still had not heard from Mrs. Adelson, and so you sent her a letter, did you not?
That letter, I did not physically do it. That was the investigative team that wrote and sent that letter.
Were you aware of it?
At the time, I wasn't.
Did you become aware of it?
Later on, yes.
Okay. And the gist of it was, nobody had heard back from her, correct?
I don't remember reading that letter.
But you're aware the letter was sent, right?
Later on, yes.
Okay. And
question.
then move forward all the way up to April the 28th of 2016. Mrs. Adelson has not called you back, correct?
I don't remember the dates that, accurately. I don't remember.
Okay, well, there's a phone call that's been introduced into evidence, so.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
but you're asking me before that. I guess on the 28th, I received a call.
Well, on the 28th, you actually called the Adelson Institute,
Yes, I
didn't you?
did call.
Okay.
Yes,
So you were the first call then? You
Yes,
called
I-
the Adelson Institute?
correct.
And
correct.
you were trying to reach Donna Adelson?
That is correct.
But she was not there?
Correct.
So you left a message saying, you're Sammy, and you haven't heard back from her, and let her know I called?
That is correct.
Okay. But she doesn't call you back right then, does she?
No, she did not.
And she didn't pay you the $5,000 you were looking for, correct?
Did not.
Okay. And so you called the Adel Institute and get no response. So then May the 4th of 2016, you sent a text to Donna Adelson at 2:09 in the morning, correct?
That is correct.
And on that text, you said, still have not heard from Donna. Wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. So you don't take me serious. You think I'm playing. You have some puta?
I think Buto.
Puto, call me to see if I'm for real. If you think what KD baby daddy did for you can't come back, you're, excuse my language, fucking crazy. I want the, and then it doesn't say now, or I'm going after the 100K. Right?
That's what I was told to write, yes.
Wasn't very polite there, was it?
Well, that's usually how somebody that's blackmailing somebody or extorting somebody in the criminal world would probably talk to somebody, yes.
Sure, it's more aggressive, right?
Absolutely.
Because you want her to incriminate herself by talking to you, pay the $5,000. You're looking for her to talk, right?
I'm just looking for her to send the money.
But she didn't send the money, did she?
She did not.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was to show there was not a direct involvement with the undercover FBI agent, and I thought, I mean, it's well and good, but they still have it on record that he said that Donna had called as well as Charlie. So they still have that on record, and maybe we are going to hear more about this call later on. I don't know who by. Sorry, not well. I do know who by. It's going to be by the FBI agents tomorrow because his testimony did not finish. But yeah, so this witness is subject to recall by the defense. So I don't know what they're strategizing here, but it's interesting that they have left the idea that Donna did not even send the money, that they did not respond directly to this undercover FBI agent. The next witnesses that went on were technical witnesses that were brought in to essentially show. They were brought into to essentially explain the process that was happening. So Louis Bronstein, who is a FBI agent, I'll just quickly go through them. He gave details of the surveillance that was done regarding Kathryn and Katie at the restaurant. He also said that there was audio and video recorded as well. There was no cross-examination. Then we heard from James McLevin, I can't say his name. McKelvin. He is the forensic scientist, and he testified to editing and compressing the audio so that the speech may be heard. Because he said that there was a lot of background noise, etc. So it was almost inaudible at some points. And on cross-examination, the defense came up and asked whether he had an edited audio, compressed audio basically, of the police interview with Donna Adelson. And he says no, that they didn't have that. And this was where the part that I thought was interesting, because we only heard testimony from the lead detective that said that Donna had made comments about what the mom had said on the phone with her, that she didn't, well, at least she was surprised on, all those things. Now we're hearing there was no audio of that interview. It should be inferred that there wouldn't be audio because it was an unofficial visit. That said, though, we just finished the Christopher Wolvenbarger case, where the unofficial visit from him was audio recorded. So I don't know how that works, but they could have had audio from this interview. I'm guessing what the defense is trying to set up here is that maybe she didn't say that, and there's no way to actually prove that what Wendi was saying that day was actually what transpired. So there was no redirect exam after this. Brian Kendall was the next witness up, and he was the police officer that was working with the task force, the undercover agent. This is Patrick Sandford. He's gonna be lost. But yeah, so this is Brian Kendall, and he just testified to being part of the undercover agents and he was recording Harvey and Charlie Adelson at the sushi restaurant, and he said that he took a position at the sushi bar, and then he said that they had figured out who he was, basically, that Charlie and Harvey realized that they were onto him, basically. And I thought that these witnesses, the state did admit some materials through these witnesses, but I thought that this witness was to show or lay the groundwork as to why they were speaking in code. So that was the importance of this witness, why Donna and Charlie were speaking in code. Then the man of the hour, Christopher Sandford, came up, and he was the FBI agent that was handling the recordings. He was orchestrating the bump. He was overseeing it all. So he testifies to the wiretap that was done on Charlie and Kathryn, and he says that there was evidence of Donna meddling. We didn't hear that evidence yet, so I'm guessing they're going to bring that in tomorrow and go through the meddling from the onset in regards to the wiretaps with Charlie and Kathryn. So I think this might come into to play of your point, Trent Briggs, because maybe this is where her involvement regarding the hit might be found. But I still think that there was quite damning evidence that came out today. Let's continue on. So the audio of the wiretaps with Donna and Charlie Adelson was played, and they were using words like lottery and discussing Wendi's dating life, referencing the age of the person she shouldn't date. So this was to show the controlling nature, in my opinion, of meddling with Wendi's dating life. We're not gonna go through all of these audios, but I'm gonna go through the key ones that shows Donna's possible culpability in all of this. So he also explains what the bump and the aim of the bump was, and he said that he was pretending, and he says that he was pretending that they were pretending to basically be an incarcerated gang member who had spoken with Luis Rivera, who was in prison at that time, and basically that was what they were trying to do, to basically ruffle the feathers and see what shake the tree. That's my word. Shake the tree and see what falls out. A video was played of the bump. I'm gonna quickly play that video so that you can see, because it's gonna become very material as the case as we continue.
If he approached her being too aggressive and too scary, we didn't know how she would react, if she would possibly be armed at the time. We had no idea, so didn't want to create a hostile environment to make her become overly aggressive.
And is that a concern in every undercover operation, that you just kind of don't know what you're going to get?
So it's a bit too far ahead. Let's go here. Sorry, a bit too far forward.
Black shorts. What is it? Yeah. Okay, bye. Excuse me, Mrs. Adelson? How you doing? Just want to give you this. Listen. You're scared. Don't be scared. Listen, I just want to let you know that we know that your family has been taking care of Katie and her friend Futo for quite some time after your problem up north has been resolved. And I want to let you know that my brother, he's incarcerated. He helped your family with this problem you guys had up north. And we want to make sure that he's going through some rough times, and we want to make sure that you take care of what he's going through, the way you're taking care of Katie.
and Dugan. Well, this will explain it. Thank you.
So, remember those words. He says,
Pause it, please.
he says, we know your family has taken care of my brother who is incarcerated, and we hope that you take care of him the same way you have taken care of Katie, who is Kathryn. So he says that, and it's gonna become very important as we go on. But basically, he also goes on to testify that Donna had called Charlie Adelson after this bump, and the call was played to the jury. I'm gonna highlight key points from the call, but to start off the call, she basically said that she had paperwork handed to her and needs to speak with him. And Charlie had basically thought, are you being sued? You basically asked that question, are you being sued? At that point, she said, no, you're not being sued, or basically something like that. And then she says that it was the IRS people that I got in touch, and says that it involves both him and her in general. Let's listen.
In the afternoon.
Okay. So the boys who finished their piano lesson around 4-ish, and they had the traffic up there, and they take a ride with them up there.
Did Dad know about it?
The dad didn't work today, fortunately.
What's I can't. Is it IRS or?
You know, those IRS people, they kind of bother you sometimes, but fortunately not now.
Okay.
So I will talk to you. I'll give you a heads up if I'm going to drive up that way. Okay? And
Is Wendi down there? Is it involved Wendi?
No. So let me just talk to you later, and if
You got the what? Is there a health okay?
Yeah.
Does it involve me or other people?
Well, probably both of us.
What's that?
Probably the two of us. So you probably have a general idea what I'm talking about.
So
Let's just find some time to talk to each other and take the
so many questions. Normal moms speaking about something involving both of us. So based on what the FBI agent, of course she said that those IRS people, but it's not that this time she said that. So the IRS is out of question. But the fact that she says it probably involves both of us, I think this is the implication, because at this point, at least I'm expecting to hear if she wasn't involved. Based on your point, I think she may have found out after the fact. Maybe she wants to maybe if we want to go into that defense, that she found out that Charlie was involved in something, I will be asking, what did you do? Why is Kathryn? What's going on? Tell me, talk to me. What's going on? To get him. But even with that, if she found out later on and then went on to help the son one way or the other, she's equally culpable. So that's why I think it's likely that what's coming out from the wiretap is what's going to do her in. So she also says that it's not anonymous, and she just doesn't want to discuss it over the phone. So this gives us the impression that she knows from day one, and she believes that they're being listened to, that they're being watched. So this kind of contextualizes what the testimony was about being at the bar. You remember the previous witness, Brian Kendall, who says that he was at the bar and he was spotted by and Charlie and Harvey had known that they were onto him. Maybe this gives a bit more context. Then Charlie and Donna discusses the situation and Charlie asks if someone is blackmailing him or government related, and she says, or is it some kind of whack job, etc. And then Charlie says, if it's a threat, then you should go to the police, and says that it's just and she says it's just a bad Yelp review. So let's listen to that part of the testimony. That was key.
Really?
Johnny, I can make the attempt to go up there. I'm just concerned about getting back here in time and then you're worried. I don't think it's a good idea to do it because we don't before, so. You know?
All right.
And it's going to be a shock for
Well, I mean, you have to get into stuff with insurance. I mean, it's crazy that someone hands you a letter like that. But I don't know.
usually better just keep it tomorrow, that's 12:15, 12:21.
Is the person like threatening you or anything?
You're never going to have it interpreted. So let's not worry, and let's meet tomorrow. I think that's better. But let's meet tomorrow this afternoon.
All right, let me ask you this. Do you want to take a picture of the letter and send me what someone sent you?
No, not really. I don't do that.
So it wasn't the government or the military or somebody, just some random person.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. How long was the letter?
Well, it was just a copy of all of what was written in the letter. That was written in a copy of that letter.
Is the person threatening you?
I don't think we should.
Actually, I mean, it's kind of sensitive. I'm kind of thinking if there's a threat, you go to the police.
Yeah.
But anyway, let me.
I think that's a good idea.
Well, I don't mean it's people threaten you, gotta go to the police. But let me talk. Let me see what it is. Let me see what nonsense it is first.
Okay.
It won't be the first time I've been threatened.
Yeah.
But
I'd like to just see what you think.
yeah,
Right here, right up to him. So let's do that. Let's make it, 12:20, 12:30 tomorrow. That would be ideal. Okay?
Okay. You got it.
You're on vacation for a little bit, okay?
All right. Yeah. No. I'll come down. I'll see you up at the police.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
all right. If it's something serious, I'm going to recommend going to the police. So.
Oh, no, I know. That's what I'm thinking to do.
So. All right. Sounds good.
Just for tomorrow, okay?
All right.
Okay.
On this call, we hear the defendant say that this is a particularly bad Yelp review. Is this an example of code talk?
Yes.
This doesn't have anything to do with the Yelp review, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so already in call 2, we've got code words being used.
That's correct.
That's pretty key, because the next part that we're going to get to is where it all, in my opinion, is where the walls, like I said, the walls are closing in on Wendi. This was really crazy. Let's listen.
That's really crazy. Are they trying to ask for money or something?
Yeah.
If someone trying to, listen, if it's something like that, I'll probably like to go to the police, but
I may have to, but I'd rather talk to you first.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, there's scumbags out there all the time that try to do stuff like that.
Oh, I know.
So,
That's why I just want you to see, because I don't want, not your father upset.
don't say anything to dad until I take a look at it, because dad's $5.
Absolutely.
On everything.
That's what I suggested, after you go to work tomorrow.
Did the person give you any kind of like time frame or anything?
No.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
clear. It's clear what. That's one thing.
What is it, kind of ask you, what do they ask for?
You know, I don't know, this TV is probably about $5.
They ask you for $5,000?
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The TV repair, by the way, wasn't done. So now, apparently, 2 years later, 2 years, they're still speaking about the TV repairs. For $5,000, apparently, this TV is going to cost them. But remember, it was a joke. It was just a joke. But that is the one part that that, in my opinion, has implicated Donna and put her right in the center of this. She doesn't have to be the one that carried out the hit. It all goes down to jury instructions and how it's worded. But she doesn't have to be the one that carried out the hit. Right here, she is not dissuading the son. What did you, like, let's say that she did find out about the son doing it. And then at this point, you should be getting, what did you do? Why did you do that? Go to the police, confess, do all these things, leave me out of it. I don't know why you're trying to, like, if the son says, you were part of it, you were doing all these things, it's like, no, I didn't actually think that you guys were actually going to go through with it. I thought you guys were joking. You always remember the joke that you told about getting a TV down a hitman. I thought you guys were joking. Like, but you actually did it? I didn't. No. Go confess. If that happened, I think that would have helped Donna way more in relieving the culpability. But here they're talking about the code word. She is, in my opinion, culpable at this point as being part of the conspiracy. So it ended there, and after the call, and after they went through that call, Kathryn, both Kathryn, Donna, and Charlie had met up. And had discussed all that happened with Kathryn, with Donna to Kathryn. So my bad. Let me start again. I just got the name wrong. Charlie and Donna had met up to discuss all that happened with Donna to Kathryn. So Charlie discussed all that happened with Donna to Kathryn Mac, Kathryn Mac. And according to his testimony, the FBI agent at this point, there was no audio played of this. According to his testimony, they were speaking lowly, and the meeting had lasted for 30 minutes. I'm guessing we're gonna hear more about this tomorrow, because this was the end of day 4. So what did we learn today? What have we learned today? Gosh. We have to go back to Donna's involvement. We have to go back because that's all planned out now. That's planned out. That's mapped out as if it's nothing. We have to remember Stephen Corbitt's testimony highlighting her state of mind after losing the relocation. After losing the relocation motion, and all the events that occurred had basically been zoomed in, became macroscopic at this point. So after losing that, we fast forward to June, and we saw the fallout from June. After the first hit failed, we saw the relocation. We saw the planning to get the kids in, putting the kids' picture up. Donna and Charlie met up with Harvey. Yes, Donna and Charlie met up with Harvey, not Katie. Yeah, my bad. Thanks for that. Thanks for that correction, Jen for Justice. Welcome to the stream. I appreciate you for that correction. So yeah, let me correct that record. Kathryn had nothing to do with it. It was Donna, Charlie, and I forgot to mention Harvey. So they all met up, and they discuss, and it was everything that happened with Donna. They had discussed to Harvey, not Kathryn. Okay, so thank you so much for that, Jen, for justice. So like I said, the meetup on the 6th of July, on the 6th of July, when they zoomed in on that, it was shown Wendi getting the details while they were at the house. It was shown why this would likely happen, and I hypothesized. My theory was the first hit fell through, so they had to do all of this, and they were scrambling because we already know on June 6th she was already getting the kids the kids' details, changing the kids' last names in the house, etc. She being Donna was already putting the kids' pictures up in the house, so they were thinking that the job would be done and it will all be smooth sailing from there. That didn't happen. We have to remember also the calls of the call details. Remember when the rental was being acquired, showing direct involvement with the Adelsons, in definitely Donna, and you can even infer Harvey's involvement as well. Then on the day of the murder, we can't forget that they were all at the house, and Donna was also involved. Donna was at the house too. Apparently, they were supposed to get a TV repair appointment that cost, well, we found out that this TV probably cost $5,000 to repair 2 years later. But nonetheless, after the money exchange, after the murder and the money exchange was happening, we know that Charlie and Kathryn had spent the night, and everything is gonna lead back to Kathryn. Can't wait to hear I can't wait to hear what's gonna happen tomorrow, because I'm pretty sure they're gonna show the wiretaps with Kathryn and Katie. Well, they did show the wiretaps with Kathryn and Katie, because they went because after that we went through they went through I forgot his name. Not Sandford. Patrick Sandford, my bad. Patrick Sandford went through the calls with Charlie and Kathryn, where he relays what had basically happened with Donna, and tells Kathryn of the bump that happened with Donna, and says that they want money and it involved his ex-girlfriend. So he only calls her, talking about ex-girlfriends, all those things, that they want money, etc. The involvement, all of this went back to Kathryn. That's the involvement with Donna. We also now see the inconsistencies with Wendi Adelson's testimony regarding the joke about the hitman. That doesn't seem like a joke now. Regarding her saying she actually said on the stand that she never spoke with Jeff about a hitman. Well, if you believe Jeff, if you think that he's a credible witness, this is a clear lie, because he says that Wendi had spoken with him regarding Charlie inquiring about a hitman to get rid of the problem that she had about with Dan. That's what basically happened. If you believe that's truthful and he's not influenced by the reporting of this case, she's lying. The tasteless joke, inconsistent again. Her believing she was a suspect 9 times, just 2 hours after escaping the blockage, etc. You know, when she saw the crime scene blockage at Dan's house, she's saying that she was a suspect 9 times. It now puts into context and shows the inconsistencies of the story, because she denies saying that she was like, she was like, I don't think I was saying that I was a suspect because they always suspect the wife. That's what she was saying. Now it becomes different, because now she's worried, thinking, hey, the context is a bit different. So, but the most important part in all of this is the importance and the credibility of Rob's testimony, because he doesn't even know, him not knowing what was going on. When Donna said, don't speak to the FBI. Don't speak to the FBI if they come around. She was like, I've already spoken with them. It's like, oh, never mind. You don't know what's going on. That carries a lot more weight now. That carries a lot. What she said about someone, I just said, are you Dan? And then shoots him, like, that information not being shared by the lead detective. That, putting that to one side, her saying you don't know anything, different light, because she does know everything. Why are you panicking when the investigation began to not, telling your son not to speak with the FBI? Why are you saying all this? Why are you trying to do all this if you were not involved? So it puts that into like there's a lot of weight that goes onto that testimony now. So a lot. But before I do sign off, I just want to go back and I just want to go back to that script where and I will sign off with the call to Kathryn with Charlie.
About at all.
So somebody like bumped into your mom like that?
Well, they came up to her on the street after she dropped the kids off at school. I guess she brought them to school. I don't even know.
Not what happened.
But they must know her routine. They must know who she is.
Yeah.
They walked up to her. They called her by name. They handed her an envelope. And she said they spoke to her for a few minutes. And then she said they were making reference to my ex-girlfriend. I have no fucking clue what that's about.
Yeah.
And then they explained that they needed to be paid the money.
For what?
I guess probably didn't want to talk to me on the phone.
But like, did she see the person? Was she like, she should have like...
Oh yeah, that's what I said. I said, someone's going to try to blackmail you or something.
Exactly, or blaming you like that.
I said, yeah, good trade. She's like, I don't even know what this is about. I don't want to talk about it. I go, well, take a picture and send me what it is. She's like, I just want to see it in person. So I'm going to go there. I can't even fucking go there today because I won't get out of work until 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So she's like, just...
So who was stalking your mom?
I don't even fucking know. I don't know what's going on, what my mom's about. I mean, you didn't do anything with my mom. I mean, yeah.
Who was with my mom?
Okay. Just checking. Just checking. I don't know what...
No, but I feel for your mom. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, well, I don't
know. Person, like, she's going up to your mom, like, hello.
Yeah, and my mom said it involved your ex-girlfriend, so I don't even think she said who. I'm just like, you're my last girlfriend, so that's why I called you.
What they wouldn't want from her.
I have no idea. So anyway, I'm gonna find out. Well, they wanted money.
I know, exactly. Did she tell you? Like, what was
yeah, she was just kind of like a little bit rattled and with the kids, and was like, listen, just I should have had the day off tomorrow, so she's like, come down and talk to me. So I'm going down tomorrow, talk to her, and then I don't remember if it had anything to do with you. If they're mentioning you or if any reference to you, I'll keep you posted.
What are you doing? Yeah, like
I don't know.
Girlfriend.
Well,
and there we have it. That's the implication of the mother. That is how 100% she's now implicated, because no one mentioned the ex-girlfriend. It wasn't mentioned ex-girlfriend. It was actually, the name was mentioned, not ex-girlfriend. So if the mom told you it was an ex-girlfriend, there we go. Lock, sealed, key delivered. But that's all. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in for another catch up. I hope that you guys had gotten a lot out of this, and I hope that you are all caught up with what happened today in court. We shall be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time, same time, going through day 5 and what happened in court, whatever is going to happen, because gosh, I don't know I have no idea what I'm in for. I have no idea what was going to happen, but I'm guessing that based on what has happened today, we're going to hear more wiretaps of the conversation between Charlie and Kathryn. Maybe more conversation with Charlie and Donna. I have no idea. This witness is not done. But anyway, this is not over. This is far from over. I'm so gripped. This trial feels like so long, but it's speeding up. It's really speeding up. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Make sure that you hit the like button as well as the share button. It really does help us out with the YouTube algorithm. Share this with all your friends and family and whoever is out there. Let them know that we are here catching up on your favorite legal cases. Once again, thank you, replay crew, for watching this. If you are watching this on replay, and also you guys that are watching live and using the chat with me, I appreciate the back and forth. I appreciate you sharing your opinions. Till next time, bye for now. Thank you everyone for tuning in for another Catch Up Court live stream. Make sure that you smash that like button as well as hitting that subscribe button to be notified of our future live streams. We go live regularly, bringing you case updates and recaps of ongoing trials, so make sure you hurry back on the next live stream. We also have more content on the channel that you can binge on. Check out the playlist that we have showcasing all of these contents. Without further, I go by the name of Heinz, your friendly neighborhood ketchup man, and I'll see you back in court.